Hey guys, Redwood Bullion back here with you. Just want to make a quick video, real quick. I haven't made one in a couple of days. So we've been seeing a little bit of action, silver going up. Got a little bit of a pullback after hours. Been getting a bunch of emails and a bunch of questions just from friends lately. Obviously, because of all the attention this has all been getting, especially people that are new to getting precious metals. What should they go for? What's their best bang for the buck? And depending on where you're at, if you got a good local supply or if you do a lot of online shopping. Me personally, I do most of mine locally, but online, your biggest thing is you're just gonna have to watch for the premiums. You got some like the Scottsdale stackers. These are gonna carry more of a premium than say just a standard generic bar like that, or even some of these. These are secondary market and old, so I don't even honestly remember. But then you got stuff like Geigers and Monarchs and stuff like that. Those are definitely going to command a higher premium if you can even find them. And then especially you get into old vintage stuff like this, or just old small batch pours and old obsolete mines. Those are definitely going to be harder to get and definitely going to have to pay more. Right now, even Constitutional locally is trading for or selling for anywhere between 18 to 22%, 22 times face value, which is just insane from what it was just simply 6 months or a year ago. And love that sound. But that's what I go for. I just bullion's bullion. If you're going for collector stuff, you got to be prepared to pay the high premiums, and it's going to take you longer to recoup your money, assuming it just doesn't double overnight or something like that. But you really got to watch that. And if you do buy and it does drop, don't get discouraged. Maybe go out and buy a little bit more then, because it brings your dollar cost average down more versus what it was at before. If you just only buy as it's going up and then get bummed out when it drops. Stuff like this, even spot right now is I think 1869 or something like that. These are selling for $390, $400 plus. They just because they just didn't make a lot of them, and those are definitely fall into the collector category or limited amount or whatever, however you want to categorize it, but just general stuff like this. And honestly, these are some of my favorite ones to get right now. If I do go online, I just look for these are from SD Bullion. Great service, great supplier. I haven't checked their site out in the last couple of days. I know a lot of their stuff is out of stock. Notify me when it's back or it's pre-order. And a lot of the pre-order dates aren't even until December. Some of them even being pushed back until next year. So that I would kind of stay away from. I personally have never done it, so I don't know how that all is going to go, if they're going to cancel the order. I know a lot of people have had orders continually push back, and then getting coins that are supposed to be really, really nice or top quality, not secondary market like something like this. No plastic, dinged up, touch it with my hand. This is bullion. I don't care. It's nothing. It's, same as this. This just happens to still be in the plastic. And then you got some stuff like these A-mark bars. These are a little harder to find, smaller mint. They've been gone for a while. And then you got Britannias, which are, these are Philharmonics. These are getting really, really high over spot. I think I saw them for $750 to $950 over spot today. And that's a lot. You're talking $950 over spot. You're paying about a 50% premium, give or take a little bit. And then if you're factoring in taxes too, that you got to think about that, and shipping and all that. You see the price initially, and then when you go to check out, you got the shipping and the taxes and all the other fees added on. You end up paying $26, $27, $28 an ounce. That's kind of hard to stomach when you're originally looking at it and you're doing a checkout and it's $23, $24 an ounce, and you're like, okay, that's not too bad. but premiums are just up like crazy everywhere on everything pretty much. It's getting tougher and tougher to find. I mean, luckily here there's a pretty decent local supply. People love to sell when it's going down and love to sell when it's going up, so it's kind of the best of the both worlds. But even I get just a bunch of these, just a bunch of called Morgans. This is nothing but junk. This will just get melted down into something else. Same with all this 90%. But this is great stuff right here. Go through all your change. Like, somebody emailed me and I told them, go to the bank and buy Kennedy half rolls. You don't lose anything. If you don't find anything, you take it back. It's worth the same amount of money you just spent on it. If you find something, awesome, great. You made some money off of it. Take it back. You're down 50 cents, but you're really up, say, $5 or whatever one of these is selling for now. And even foreign currency too, like some old Canadian dimes and stuff like that. Definitely have a lot of silver in them. A lot of the old ones, just do your research. I mean, obviously you're not going to get a lot of Canadian coins in our change here, but sometimes you can find them online or even by the roll and just do the math on them. And there's lots of other metals too that are definitely a good segue into silver or gold if that's what you're trying to do, or even just another type of precious metal. Like copper, like I've said before in some of my other videos, but also nickel. I have a bunch of Canadian coins that are 99.9% nickel. I mean, that's, just as good. It's obviously not as high valued as silver or gold but it's still a good precious metal that if you collect enough of it, you could easily sell it and then, maybe go buy yourself a half ounce of gold, ounce of gold, 2 ounces of silver, whatever you can afford. A lot of these pieces, this stuff like this is, this is Jaeger bar or poured bar cube actually, but these are kind of specialty. You have to seek them out a little bit. Silver Bar Stacker does have a really good selection of vintage stuff on his website. The Anglehards that definitely has lots and lots of good information about the Anglehards. I watched a couple of his videos and started to look into some of the Anglehards that I got, trying to categorize them because there's just so many different variations, different series, different years, the amount that were minted, where they were minted, some of them, exact same weight as silver, but worth, a decent percentage more simply because they were such a small run compared to, another like the P series or something like that, where there was, lots and lots of them made. They're just standard press bars. But there's definitely like the colonial ones he was talking about. Those are, those are definitely worth more than just some generic, something, just like these, just like the Eagles. They have no other markings on them. I don't actually even know the mint that makes these. I'd have to look. It's 4.9, so it's probably Canadian. But those are nice. Those are at a fair price. Those are a good one too. If you can find them, lots of different mints make them. They're just the Buffaloes, very recognizable. People know them. They see them. They know that they're legit. They're about as close as you're gonna get to like a Silver Eagle or something like that, as far as just generic rounds and the notoriety and the acceptedness of them, and people realizing that they're real, or not wondering, because if they haven't seen a lot of this stuff before, some of these things, they got to do a little bit of research. And then even when you go to try to sell something like this, you got a thinner market. If you pay a high premium for this and then you have to go sell it, you're not going to get back that premium quickly, unless you want to put it online or something like that. But if you have to walk into a coin store and sell some silver or sell some gold or something like that just because you need some money or whatever, you definitely want to go with the cheapest version right out of the gate, just so that you pay the lowest premiums for one, and that way you lose the least amount if you do end up having to sell it. Definitely don't overextend yourself. I mean, I wouldn't go out and buy it on credit cards or mortgage my house or anything like that for it. But it's worth having. It's a nice peace of mind. I mean, then you get stuff like these. Like these are just kind of fun. I got a handful of these just because. But that's my recommendation. That's what I'm doing right now. Is I'm just looking for the cheapest bullion that I can find, basically. And I'm fortunate enough to kind of pay pretty much the same percentage over spot all the way across the board. Sometimes I pay, or they'll charge just a little bit more if it's silver or American Eagles or something, which I don't buy anyway. I buy 2 a year every year. MS70s just to keep the collection going since '86. I got 2 of each all the way through. Other than that, I don't buy them. I haven't bought any in the last couple years, other than just the 2 a year. They're just the premiums are they're crazy on them. They're just way too much. It's not worth it. It takes way too long to get it back or to get to the point to where you're even, let alone making some money off of it. So just keep that in mind, you know, kind of maybe keep notes and keep track of what you're actually spending on it. That way you're not getting bogged down and you're not getting bummed out that you see it, you know, if it drops, say down to 18-20 tomorrow and you went out today and bought some while it was going up, you know, buy it when it's going down. That's when you want to get it. You know, everybody rushes in to buy when it's going up because they think it's going to keep going up. We're going to keep having this tug of war of up and down, up and down, up and down. But unlike the stock market, which is going to go up and down, but continue to go down, I think silver and gold are going to do the same thing, going up and down, but at a slow progression of going up constantly over the next, you know, years, whatever. You know, we got a lot of countries. India imported lots and lots of silver lately. All kinds of financial markets are just in absolute turmoil. You know, everybody's just fleeing out of all kinds of currencies and fleeing into precious metals. We got the BRICS wanting to do their thing and actually pegging it to tangible assets and real fixed pricing. So that's going to be an interesting thing to see play out. But that's my little piece of advice is I would go for just the most cheapest, generic, recognizable silver that you can possibly find. I mean, just even these Sunshine Mint ones, these nothing fancy about them, but nothing wrong with them either. Just as good as this. It's that exact same thing. You know, I wouldn't have bought this or this one if it wasn't for the price. I'm not a collector. This isn't an investment. You know, I got some pieces like this with the COVID ones, and if you watch my COVID bar video, like a couple of those ones, I paid a little bit more than I normally would ever pay for silver, just because of, you know, they were very small minted, but those have also doubled in value, or not doubled, but that's what they're being sold for right now on eBay. I bought a lot of them during when they first came out for, I think, $18 an ounce, $19 an ounce, something like that, and you can't even really find them on eBay, which is not the best place to find it anyway, but it's a good reference to get a general idea of what people are selling. You know, you're always going to have somebody on there. Like, what did I see on there? I think it was one of these and a couple of other things I have. It's some NTR bars. Somebody had one on there. They wanted $1,400 for it, but then the one right below it, somebody wanted $300. So, you know, pricing's all over the place on that, and who knows what the person on the other end of that's thinking, but you know, these are hard to find. These Wall Street ones, these are definitely hard to find. The price is pretty consistent on these, no matter what Spot's doing. All they do is just get worth more. If Spot goes up, these just go up. But these, I mean, I'd buy more of them right now if they were a normal, realistic price. Every one that I got here, I was gotten at a realistic price, a realistic spot price that was acceptable. I like them, they're cool, but I didn't go after them specifically. I grabbed them because I do like them and they were a good price. So it was, I could get this, or I could get, you know, not these, but something equivalent to this at the same time. So why not get something like that? You know, if you have the ability and the price is the same, or maybe even just a little bit more, you know, it's worth it getting stuff like getting the oddball you know, small mint, stuff like that. Like even some of the, just these Morgan coins, like nothing fancy, that one's not, but this is an older one, you know, silver trade unit. Lots of old coins and rounds like that that you'll find from a lot of mints that have long since been gone. They're around in the 60s and the 80s, but they didn't make a lot, or they change it up constantly. So some of those can be worth a decent amount of money. And back then silver was so cheap at some point, like, you know, a lot of people were just giving them away. I got some that say the "To Someone Special Merry Christmas," and it's got a bunch of people's names carved into them, and they were given out at some company as a Christmas present, you know. So it was just, it was a different time back then with silver. It wasn't thought of, and I honestly don't think it was as heavily manipulated as it is today, with the price suppression and whatnot. I think that's going to all start to come to light as it slowly is. It seems like more and more every single day, just with all the attention that it's gaining. But if you're new to stacking, I definitely would just aim for the cheapest generic silver that you can get, because when it really comes down to it, and if silver does what we all think that it's going to do, it doesn't matter that it's going to be this. You're probably not going to get back the premiums out of this vintage stuff if you're trying to sell it in a rush, or even trying to sell it in bulk. If you're trying to unload your whole stack, or you need some emergency cash, you're not going to get those high premiums back that you're paying for some stuff like that when you would out of something like that. So that's kind of my MO right now for silver shopping. It's a little bit different because I mostly shop at pawn shops, so the variety is just whatever somebody brings in. So the nice thing about that is that a lot of it is old stuff, you know, and not a lot of it is very new. These are probably some of the newest ones that I've bought, of silver bars that are poured or made in the last couple years. Most of the stuff is a lot older, and so therefore it is worth a little bit more. So that's always nice, but that is not my goal. You know, even some of these, like if you can even find them, they're going to be a little bit more than, you know, just your standard Sunshine Mint ones. And even some of these, like they don't make them anymore. They only made so many of them. A lot of people bought them to hold on to as commemorative pieces, collector pieces, whatever it may be. So they're definitely going to command a higher price. Obviously, same with the Philharmonics, Britannias, American Eagles. As you know, their premiums are just absolutely insane. I haven't even looked at them because I don't even want to know, because I know I'm not buying them anyway. But when you're seeing people like AppMex sending emails that they're willing to buy them back for $7, $8, $9 over spot, you know something's a brewing. Somebody's having some problems in some supply lines. So, and Constitutional too, another really good one. No reason to melt it down. It's worth just as much, 90%, but it's still just as good in the form that it's in, especially in a barter situation or even a trade. You know, you find enough of this stuff going roll hunting, or even just digging through your change, you can easily walk into a place and sell it and swap it out for a bar. You know, swap it out for some rounds, whatever you want to do, whatever you feel like doing. And it just depends on where you're at with your stack. If you're just starting out, I would start small with this. If you got a decent amount and you're feeling comfortable and you have the finances to do it, I'd start getting some bars, just because it's easier. The premiums are generally a little bit lower. Even being high, they're still generally a little bit lower. And then especially once you get up into 100-ounce bars, the premiums are, they're a lot better than buying, you know, 101-ounce coins usually, especially if they're, you know, something that's, you know, like these. If you buy all Scottsdale or whatever it is, or you're going to pay a lot more for 100 of these than you would a 100-ounce bar, depending on the type of bar that it is. Going for 100-ounce bars, if you're going for that, I would suggest a Royal Canadian Mint or Englehards. There's a massive community of collectors for Englehards, so they're always going to be in demand. People always will buy them. You got to find those buyers. They might not be local to you, but a lot of places do one of the places that I go frequently and have gone for the last 10 years. Like, he will pay a little bit more for the Engelhard just because he can make one phone call to one guy who will come in and take it every single time, anyone that comes in there. So, you know, some of that stuff does have that benefit of the recognition, like I was saying, is that people do recognize what it is. They recognize the value in it, and they recognize the collector value just by seeing the name. So that definitely helps out a lot if you ever have to liquidate a little bit of it or do whatever. I've never sold any, but I've never tried to sell. These are some foreign coins. Let's see, there's another one too. I think this is a franc. I've never tried to sell any of these, so I don't know how this would go if you were trying to sell it like you would just regular U.S. minted constitutional silver. You'd have no problem walking in and selling this, boom, just like that. Same with Morgans, anything like that. They probably would once they look them up and see. I believe these are 90% silver too. Same with these, because they came out of my 90% silver constitutional bag, so I'm guessing that they are the same. I'd have to double check to be 100% sure. But a lot of those actually came buying a junk lot of scrap silver off of eBay, which actually even had a bunch of silver eagles in it just thrown in there. So that was a nice little added bonus. It was just jewelry, basically. So that's what I would recommend. But yeah, it's definitely the supply is definitely getting thin. Everybody's having a hard time finding it. All the big suppliers are having a hard time supplying, keeping up. Lots of back orders, lots of out of stock, lots of I don't knows. So that tells me there's probably going to be a good price correction here coming up. Supply lines are getting pretty muddied, getting pretty bogged down, and then just all the other stuff that's going on. You know, a lot of people rushing out of the stock market into safe haven assets. You know, looking at the amount of gold that's leaving the LBMA is just, I mean, it's astonishing. It really is. And the fact that it's going on a one-way trip. You know, it's a transitional metal that usually is traded between countries for whatever reason, this or that, and it's not. It's being hoarded and held by a lot of these people that are, you know, taking delivery of hundreds and hundreds of tons of gold, and not hundreds of tons of silver, but lots and lots of silver. So it's coming to an end. I think that the price manipulation on silver is the cracks are starting to show, especially across the world. I think a lot of other countries are getting tired of our manipulation on this and our bullying with our dollar, and we're just going to be last in line to, you know, have what is happening to everybody else. So that's my suggestion. That's my little food for thought here on this Thursday evening at 8:30 is get the cheapest silver you could possibly find. Silver is silver. That's how I have always approached this when I first started buying this stuff, is that I bought it as an investment, not as a collection. So, and investment meaning more, yeah, it'll go up, I imagine, but I'm not going to lose anything. It's more just a good place to put it. You know, gold is definitely a lot more liquid as far as the amount of capital you get back real quick. You know, I mean, 2.5 ounces of gold right here is worth what most of the stuff on this table is worth. So that's another scenario too, is, you know, you watch that gold to silver ratio start to go down. You know, I would gladly go trade in 60 ounces of silver for an ounce of gold or something like that. So it just depends on how it's going. So let me know what you think. Drop a comment below. You know, hit that thumbs up and subscribe button. And I'm gonna be doing a 10-ounce bar giveaway. Let's do it at 250 subscribers. We'll do that one. And if you guys got any questions, you can always email me. Getting a lot of emails about just where to start and where to begin and what to look for. And just beware, there are a lot of fakes going around right now. A lot of fake eagles. So before you buy, check out the reputable dealer. Sometimes it's worth paying that little extra premium off somebody that you know is true, is reliable, you're going to get real stuff from, rather than taking a risk and buying something that's fake. There are a lot of fake stuff going around, a lot of fake gold, and a lot of fake eagles. Morgans too. Morgans have been seriously faked, on a massive scale for many years. So you just tread lightly, especially if you're new to all this and you're not familiar with it all. Just try to develop a relationship if possible with somebody local and see if they're trustworthy, and just build off of that. That's the best thing that I would say, because that way you're not limited by the supply lines and all the other stuff, these big giant retailers, and you're also not paying all those extra fees. And if something gets lost or stolen in the mail or some other problem and you got to do back charges and all that, that's just a pain. Then your money's tied up, and nobody wants to deal with that. You want to go in and get it. It's the whole point of buying this stuff, is to have it in your hands and know that you're good. So having something lost in the mail, or having it not show up, or having them refund you your money because their order's being canceled, that's not good. But maybe not everybody has that ability, or they don't have good prices. But that's my suggestion, is to try to find somebody local and build off of that relationship. That's what I've done, and it's worked out great for me. I prefer to do it that way. Get a wider variety of selection and stuff like that, which is great, and generally better prices. They don't want to sit on inventory, and they don't. It's a little different here because I'm so far removed from the city, but they don't want to sit on inventory. They're not going to get these insane premiums that all these online retailers are getting, or people on eBay are getting, and they're not selling on eBay, so they want to move it in and out. So they're willing to sell a lot lower than what a lot of places are comparable to. I mean, I've gone in and bought stuff and been looking at it while I'm buying it on eBay and seeing it selling for $300, $400, $500 more. This is on like 100-ounce bars or something, but seeing it sell for multiple hundreds of dollars more than what I'm paying for it at that exact moment. So that's always nice. That if I know that if I wanted to, I could just go home and list it up and probably make a couple $100 right off the bat on it and be done. So, but all right. Well, I appreciate you guys' time. Drop me a comment below. Let me get a follow from you guys, and keep on stacking.